Beloved one, now we shall continue with the story or history of my lifetime after the resurrection. We have spoken earlier of the sea adventure. We have spoken of being in Gaul. We have spoken of visiting with the gypsies in Germania. We have spoken of going to Britannia. And we have spoken of the spaceships. There were times, intervals when I knew the spaceships, and I was an commander of some of the spaceships. So I knew the wholeness of the universe. I knew the wholeness of Holy Mother Earth. In other words, I had seen her from what you would call afar, and I had seen her as I walked and felt the energy of Holy Mother Earth beneath my feet. I advise you quite often to go out in your grass, in nature, to take off the sandals and to walk barefoot in the grass, in nature, even upon the stones and the rocks, and to feel the energy of Holy Mother Earth. She is a living, breathing being that you have brought forth in your reality to play upon. Miriam and I and some of the children, some of the ones that we took in under our wings as the adopted ones of the village who perhaps did not have the mother and father to look after them, traveled throughout all of the known land of Holy Mother Earth. We traveled to the Far East and talked with the ones who lived in the villages. Oftentimes you will find ones who are on the same path as you when you go to the villages. The big cities or towns as they were then usually were comprised of ones who were more narrow-minded in that they were set upon a certain goal. But in the villages, in places where there was the farming and where there were the animals to raise, the ones living there closer to nature were very friendly, very open to discussing ideas of the stars, of the phases of the moon. Not so determined to bring narrow focus to their reality as you have in this day and time in your cities. So we traveled sometimes far distances, sometimes only a short distance. And as I have shared with you, we would stay in certain villages for a while until it became apparent that we were not aging quite as fast as the villagers, and then we would make a reason to travel on. These were very happy times. These were very freeing times to be one with my friends, and everywhere I went I met friends. There was never anyone who was not my friend. And this is true for you. As you meet one-on-one with a person, you do not meet what seems to be a stranger. Now, as you look to the collective and there are certain groupings, you can feel in the worldview that there are ones who are strangers who are perhaps not believing the same as you do, ones who could be called enemies. But when you meet them face to face, that all drops away as you get to know them and you begin to understand that they are living a life with its challenges the same as you, and then they become a friend. A friend, by definition, is an equal. When you come to meet a friend, you see them as yourself. You see them struggling sometimes to understand what life is all about. You see them coming up over the challenges of the world, and you know, because you have been there, how that challenge feels, and you meet them on an equal footing. That is a friend. So in time, because we did measure it in time, we found ourselves in what you would refer to as the New World. In other words, this country of yours, and to the north and to the south. We came to this land and it was already peopled by friends, ones who had been here for a long time and had an understanding of relationship to Holy Mother Earth and a reverence for life in all of its forms. They could speak to the spirit of a tree and receive messages and blessings from all of nature. It was wonderful to partake of their energy. It was wonderful to understand what they had brought forth in the evolution of consciousness. We found this in what you call North America and also in South America, for there were ones already inhabiting these lands. Now, this is not always written about in your history books. It is much abbreviated, shortened as to the history which did not begin until your Mr. Columbus came over and discovered that there was a land to the west, or the east as he thought he was going to find. And there were people already here, people who truly understood the way of Holy Mother Earth much better than some of the ones in countries that had evolved their civilization. Now, truly the civilizations from which the Europeans came had already gone through a phase and were in the middle of a phase of power. There were the rulers, the kings, the queens, the ones who were of royal descent. Now, all of you are of royal descent. All of you truly are equal, but that was not seen in the collective consciousness at that time. There were ones who were born into the ruling class and defended it to the death of the physical body. I traveled the area that you are now in NW Washington State. I left my footprints. You will see them if you have the eyes to see them. You will feel them when you go up on top of your mountain and you look and you are attuned to the energy of the mountain. You will feel my energy, for truly I have left a part of me on all of the mountains of Holy Mother Earth. I have left my energy in all of the streams, the flowing water that I speak of so often. I have left my energy with all of the trees that spring forth and grow hundreds of years. You will feel my energy. Is my energy separate from you? No. That is why you will feel it. I traveled through all parts of what you call North America, through a country known as Canada in this day and time. At that point there was not separation of geographical political areas. I traveled throughout all, because I wanted to know and to be one with the inhabitants everywhere. I went to South America, as it is known now, and found ones of like mind there, ones who were most advanced in their simplicity. I spoke with them heart to heart and I found that they were masters, the same as the ones I had studied with in the far lands when I was gaining an understanding of myself capital S. I found the simplicity of intelligence capital I everywhere present. As I have said, as time has gone by, the cities have grown up and the divisions of countries have come about. Sometimes even in one lifetime you will see the boundaries of a geographical area change as the countries decide to call themselves something else. But at that time it was all one. At that time there were ones that I could speak with heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul, because they knew, they understood the simplicity of being and they revered life in all of its forms. Miriam and I joined them in celebration of life, however it would be formed. As I have said, these were wonderful years, times to look upon all of my brothers and sisters no matter what their form would be, no matter the coloring of the skin, no matter what they called themselves or the language that they used to communicate with each other. I knew by intuition, mind-to-mind understanding, all of the different languages. It is not difficult to do when you have the intuitive sense that grows. You know what the other one is speaking of even if you do not understand the sounds. And this is how I could travel and communicate and be one in all of the different groupings of the human form. Sometimes Miriam and I traveled to vast areas that were unpopulated by the human form, but they were populated by spirit, by the four-footed ones, the deer, the elk, the big ones, the small ones, the unicorns. And yes, the unicorns did exist, and they still exist. You may be hard-pressed to find the form, but it does still exist. All of your legends come from truth. All of your stories that seem magical are based on a truth of a time. So when you read stories and your mind and your heart get excited, know that it is a truth and you have participated in the creation of that truth. All of you have been creators. You have created the different forms of flowers. If there is a flower that calls to you, know that truly you are on the soul committee that created it. The same is true with the varieties of trees, plants, animals. We experienced forms that you no longer see in this day and time, but you have the legends and stories about them. They did exist. We did see them. I did ride a unicorn, because it allowed me. The same as the story I have told you about the camel. I did ride the unicorn. Most wondrous beast, a magical beast, one that knew the symbolism of the one horn pointing to the oneness from which all are descended. All of your legends have a truth beneath them. In my travels it was possible to walk great distances and to walk over areas that now you might see to be separated land masses. It is possible to tune into any time and see what is available at that time. So when we wanted to cross from what you knew formerly as the Soviet Union into North America, it was possible to see the landmass joined. And so we walked across that, doing what you would say now to be a bit of time travel, because we looked to what you would call the past, and there it was possible because the land was joined. When we came to something that needed what you have built now that you call the bridge, the mechanical structure, if we needed that we could come into your time now which would have been the future at that point. You have built into this reality most wonderful tools as clues. You have built into your reality what is called the imagination, and the mental facility might say, well, using a future bridge is not possible. It's only imagination. But I ask of you, what is imagination and why do you have it? It is something that you have created and it is very much in your reality, so you can imagine the most fantastical bridge or the most fantastical tunnel that you want to in any moment in time. Now, how real is time? It is most wonderful to play with imagination, with imaging. Imagination is imaging action. Break it down. Imaging and action imagination. It is a wondrous tool. I also had the experience of being the commander of, if you will receive it, several spaceships, because I knew myself not to be limited to just this reality, not just the human reality that walks upon Holy Mother Earth. I wanted to see what Holy Mother Earth looks like from outer space, as you have sometimes asked, and your astronauts meaning of the stars have shown you. Now, in truth, there is no outer space. There is nothing outside of you, the whole self of you. But I saw myself to be in outer space, as you call it, looking back at Holy Mother Earth and being able to see its history, the creation and the forming and the changing of the evolution of the physical form of Holy Mother Earth. Your scientists are telling you now that the mountains were not always here. They have been pushed up some millions of years ago as you measure years in time, and so I wanted to see how it looked before this formation. And as I asked the question, the answer was given, the same as it will be for you as you trust that which you receive. As you trust that which you see, you believe it. Then it will be a reality for you. Even as you read these words, you are on a spaceship. You are already out there. As you read these words, there is a part of you that envisions, how would it feel? And your adventurers, your astronauts have brought you pictures. They have gone where you dreamt to be in other lifetimes, where they have dreamt to be in other lifetimes, and they have brought their experience into this reality to share with you. And when someone shares with you a vision such as that, it becomes yours. When you partake of a vision that someone shares with you, it goes into your consciousness and it becomes yours. So that which you read in books, that which is spoken to you, that which you see in your science fiction movies and read in your science fiction books, where does that come from? It comes from you, and it is in your consciousness. Even if you feel you are just discovering it as you turn the page or as the movie evolves, it is in your consciousness and you own it. It becomes part of you. That is why there are so many Trekkies. You are all making trek into outer space, and even more than that, into inner space. As Miriam and I traveled over the long period of time, we interacted with you. You knew me in those years. No matter where you felt yourself to be, what country, what area you were living in, we interacted. This is not the first lifetime that you have sought me. It is not the first lifetime that we have spoken. It is not the first lifetime that we have bantered back and forth with the expanded reality and with the questions. Always it has been fun, and the joy will continue. So be it.